Hi, and welcome to the LesParis.com podcast. I'm Les. This podcast is a short daily monologue that you can listen to. Use it to practice listening to English. Use it to stimulate ideas. Use it for BGM.
Good morning and welcome to the Les Paris podcast. This is episode 39. Yesterday we talked about the history of balls. Today I want to talk about sumo. In particular, I'll talk a little bit about the history, a few techniques, and some of the cultural terms. Let's get into it. Sumo. You know, I've lived in Japan for over 20 years, and I still haven't seen a sumo competition. I haven't seen one professionally. I haven't seen even a volunteer or amateur sumo, although I'm sure people still like to fight the sumo sort of recreationally. It's kind of a hallmark of Japanese tradition. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about the history, the techniques, and the culture of sumo, but not too deeply. I guess sumo goes back a couple thousand years, close to the origin of Japan, and there were two guys, Minoso and Toma, and I'm not sure if I said that with a good pronunciation. But these were two big, powerful guys, and they wanted to prove which one was better. So they had a big fight in front of the emperor at the time, and that was the start of sumo, or so they say. Other people say sumo starts as a way to purify things to appease the gods. Anyway, some of the techniques of sumo, there's lots of them. I did a little search on sumo techniques, and there's tons of techniques. So I can't talk about them all, but one of the simplest ones is something called yorikiri. And that seems very straightforward. You just push your opponent straight out of the ring. You know, the sumo has a ring, and when the other guy goes out, you win. So that was one. Another one was oshidashi. Now, that's a little bit different because you're going to smash into your opponent with great shocking force. And then you're going to knock him off balance. And that will lead to a victory for you. The next one was uatenage. Uatenage was kind of interesting because it doesn't involve the smashing and pushing. It involves grabbing the belt and flipping your opponent. So kind of a different technique altogether. Wow, I've been talking for almost a full 2 minutes and I haven't even started to talk about the culture. There's all sorts of interesting things like the stepping that the sumo wrestlers do. Shikona stepping is what I found. And the drinking the water before they actually do the fight. That was called, what did they say? Chikaramizu. And then the salt. That's the most famous or iconic symbol of sumo wrestling when they're throwing the salt around. Salt has very special properties in the sumo wrestling tradition. I'd like to tell you more, but I'm afraid that my time's come to an end. However, if you want, go and do a little bit of research about sumo for yourself. It's really interesting. Well, that brings us to the end of episode 39 about sumo. Please come back again tomorrow to listen in when I talk about dumplings. All the world around there are dumplings, and they're all different.